In fact, I was going to say a little bit later, the main point, but I'll say a little bit now also. Which is, you see, who are we? Who are we? Who am I? Are we all the thoughts and emotions that we have, or the stories? I mean, we can go and talk about this at great length, but I'll cut it short. Which is that everything, all these things like our thoughts and emotions, all these things which actually we associate as being ourself, is actually always changing. All this, you see, everything is always, you see, like thoughts is changing, emotions is changing, everything is changing. So if you kind of grasp onto identify that as you, then it is not very reliable. Is that clear? Do you understand? But then, what then is really us? That is constant and unchanging. Is this. In a fundamental mind stream, there is this clarity, the cognizance. In fact, if you were to ask, what is the quality of mind? The quality of mind is to know. No. You understand? Look at this. There's a kind of clarity. We know, the cognizance. I don't want to be bogged down into words, because some can call it mind, others can call it consciousness, many things. When you start getting down to words, then it limits us. Let's look at more experientially. You see, in our basic, you see, like for example, in Tibetan it is said, or in the teachings it said, what is the definition of a human being? Is Mashitenko, someone who can understand and someone who can communicate. Do you understand? That understanding, or who is the understander? What is that understands? This knowing quality of mind. The knowing quality. The knowing quality. This cognizance, we can call it also clear light. This cognizance has been there with us when we were very young, when we were teenagers, when we are now, and even when in our old age. In fact, in the Buddhist teaching said this consciousness will continue until enlightenment. This pure kind of consciousness, or you understand? Now, trouble is we do not recognize that. We don't come to know that. Instead, what happens is we just grasp onto thoughts, emotions, which is just merely the manifestation of the mind. Really. In fact, it is also because of this that we have hope, fear, all that. That actually through the teaching, through the wisdom teachings, through the practice, when we come to really free the mind of grasping, because at the moment this knowing mind has been misused by the ego to grasp. You understand? And then the whole point of the spiritual path is free the mind of its grasping and to return to the pure knowing. Is that clear? And it is this is the goal of meditation at the highest level. The meditation at the beginning may be method-oriented, such as practice of mindfulness, you see, of breath or any other object. But the point of it all is slowly free the mind of its grasping. It's a bit like slowly allow the clouds to slowly dissolve, revealing the more the sky-like nature of our pure mind. And it is when you come in to discover this and experience this, something amazing, when you experience that pure mind, free of all the stories of hope and fear, all this, or put it another way, when you experience that, actually you're free of hope and fears. All the stories. You understand? And where is that? Where is that clear awareness? Nowhere. With you. Always. Always. Unchanging. Always. Our emotional thoughts may be happy, sad, but that really our fundamental mind or that is always constant. It is actually coming to know this. Like, for example, when you come to discover that, and from out of that comes the great simplicity. Simplicity. You understand? Contentment, joy, happiness. Even though your world or your life may be complex outside, but because you've discovered the inner, the freedom of mind, of this natural simplicity, we could also call it finding the natural great peace. Once we discover that even though things may be complex outside, but yet that inside it's all simple, uncomplicated. Yeah. In fact, sometimes we can call that a carefree dignity. When we discover that, then we have a carefree dignity. Or, put it this way, then there is a tremendous, how do you say, when we discover this, then there's freedom, humor, joy. Is that clear? It's like this here now. See now. Now, for example, myself, actually I'm quite happy, quite content. I'm not bothered with my thoughts. In fact, at this moment there are no thoughts also. Yes, but if there's no thought, then probably I will not be able to speak, isn't it? So, there has to be some kind of a thought.
Also eine gewisse Art
But
von Gedanken muss da wohl sein.
it doesn't bother me.
Aber das stört mich nicht.
It just comes. It's very useful.
Es kommt, es ist ganz nützlich.
Thoughts are very useful.
Gedanken sind ganz nützlich.
Emotions are very useful.
Emotionen sind ganz nützlich.
And also one thing very important.
Und auch ganz
This, when I talk about this awareness,
wenn ich von diesem Gewahrsein spreche,
by the way, it's not connected with mind only, by the way.
es ist übrigens nicht nur mit dem Geist,
It's very much with heart.
sondern auch mit dem Herzen.
It is to do with feeling.
Es hat etwas mit Gefühl zu tun.
It's the fundamental pure feeling.
Es ist ein grundlegendes, reines Gefühl.
Pure feeling.
Ein reines Gefühl.
Pure heart.
Reines Herz.
Is that clear? Pure heart.
Reines Herz.
Pure feeling.
Ein reines Gefühl.
And that comes
Und das entsteht,
when we touch with ourselves.
wenn man mit sich selbst in Kontakt ist.
Because you see, when it's cloudy,
Denn wenn es wolkig ist,
we're not really in touch with the sky.
dann sind wir nicht in Kontakt mit dem Himmel.
Really. It's cloudy. It's obscured.
Es ist verhüllt.
It is when it becomes clear,
Aber wenn es klar ist,
or you take a plane and go beyond the clouds,
wenn man ein Flugzeug mit über die Wolken
then you
geht,
can experience what sky is really.
dann kann man erfahren, was der Himmel ist.
Is that clear?